today's meeting. So for those who want to review anything from the day, you will see all of this information. Dr. Walcott, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Narki. And thanks for organizing this. As Narki said, this is the largest accepted student day we've had, and I am just so glad to see as many faces as I can see on the screen. There are 10 pages, and I can't scroll through all of them, so just think that I'm looking directly at you. I want to wish you a good afternoon or a good morning or wherever you are. Hard to keep track of that because you're from so many different places, but I hope that you and your loved ones are safe and healthy as we continue to navigate through COVID-19. Here in Athens, we're quiet now. I hope that by the time you arrive, we would have passed through one of the most challenging times in the history of our university and even in the history of our world, right? So hopefully we have most of this behind us. As a dean of the graduate school, it is my distinct pleasure to congratulate you on being accepted in your respective graduate programs here at University of Georgia. This is a significant accomplishment and you should all be very proud of yourselves. And I want to take this opportunity to give you a virtual round of applause. This is a huge accomplishment and I appreciate all of you, not only for investing in your future training, right? So you've taken time to invest in advancing your training and your education, but I'm also appreciative that you've expressed an interest in continuing your training with us here at University of Georgia. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I say that full well knowing that many of you have options. You probably have offers from other institutions and you're mulling those over and determining if Georgia is the best choice for you or if another school is. And I'm biased, of course, but I will say that Georgia is the best place for you. And I hope to see you here and I hope to welcome you here during our orientation in the fall. But I do appreciate that you have some decisions to make, some of you, and I hope that throughout today, you'll have some information that will help you make those important decisions. So today you'll learn about many benefits of living, working, and playing at University of Georgia here in lovely, beautiful Athens, Georgia. You'll continue to hear about some wonderful aspects of living here in Athens or working here and playing here. But I'm also sure that you know that Georgia is considered a top 20 school by US News and World Rankings. So we're doing pretty well in terms of recognition. And I think you've already determined that the programs you've applied to are a good fit for you, and that's probably more important. In addition to being the dean of the graduate school, I should say that I am also where you were, I was where you are now. I was a PhD student here at University of Georgia. So I earned my PhD here and I've continued to be here. I've been here for a total of 26 years. So I've been living in Athens for a very, very long time. During this time, I've traveled to other campuses. It's actually a hobby of mine, visiting around the country and seeing other campuses and actually around the world and seeing how other campuses are. And nothing I've seen has made me want to leave Athens. It's a wonderful place. It's a beautiful campus. There's lots to do here. And I really appreciate just being in this community. And I hope that you would join us. And after completing your degree, for me, it's been difficult to leave. So I hope that you'd have the same experience, that you complete your degree and find it equally compelling to stay here in our Athens community. Rather than try to add more general details to what you will hear today, and this will be a long program, well, maybe not so long, but a program that's very informative, I want to tell you about some of the resources that the graduate school can provide to assist you while you're here. Now, if you do come here and you attend, you will spend most of your time in your academic program or your academic department. They'll provide a lot of your technical training, a lot of the support you need. And if there's one thing you remember from my conversation with you today is that the graduate school also provides lots of resources. You won't see us every day, but we are here for you. We provide the little interstitial pieces, professional development, opportunities for internships you'll hear about later on. So I want you to keep that in mind. What we do handle is we process at all of your application materials. We process the decisions on whether you're accepted and we let you know. And then once you're here, we track your progress to degree completion. So we will maintain and monitor all of your milestones and make sure that you've met all the requirements. And in the end, we will confer the degree from the graduate school. So that's our place. We're kind of in the background. That's sort of the nuts and bolts technical pieces. But there are other pieces that we contribute to your development that I think is critical that you're aware of. So we provide professional development for students. And over the years, we've done more and more of this. If you're an underrepresented student, there may be opportunities for you to come here to help with transitioning to a school like the University of Georgia. We also provide an interdisciplinary certificate in university teaching. We provide opportunities for interdisciplinary research. And most importantly, we provide a range of levels of different types of support. So we have summer travel. If you're presenting at a conference, which you will later in your degree or your training, there will be opportunities for you to apply for funding from the graduate school to take those trips. There's also opportunities to conduct summer research and other types of support that we provide on a continuing basis. So I do want you to keep that in mind if you're in your units or your programs and you say, hey, I want to do this unique or innovative thing, and your program says, well, we don't have a budget for that. The answer isn't always yes, but one place you can go to look for support is the graduate school. So I encourage you to keep that in mind. As I mentioned, there's also opportunities for professional development, and I'm sure maybe Narki will hear from Andrew Crane later. There are several of our directors that do professional development, but I want to mention Andrew Crane because he's the director of our experiential professional development program, whereby we're encouraging students, even at the graduate level, to explore internship opportunities to network with potential employers. These are the things that we are hoping to do for you while you're here that is additional to the program, the technical training you receive in your programs. So I think maybe I'll stop there. I just wanted to give you a welcome, put a name to a face so that when you get on campus, you know that there's someone that you can come and visit with. And I do encourage you to visit with us once you get on campus. We do provide a lot of support, and we're very caring and concerned about our students. Before I end, I want to leave you with a couple of, I call them nuggets. I always tell students these things because they'll forget, but I hope at least one of them sticks. And these are some of the things that I believe are really critical at the stage you're at when you're thinking about your graduate programs. So of course, when you're considering a graduate program, the prestige of the institution is not as important as the prestige or the recognition of the individual faculty or the program you're applying to. So keep that in mind. So again, being at Harvard may not be as important as being at Georgia. If Georgia has the leading, you fill in the blank, a leading plant pathologist, a leading geneticist, and that should be really a driver for you. I would say treat graduate school like a job. It's a little different. For those of you who are entering graduate programs for the first time, a transition from undergrad to grad can be a little bumpy. The focus here is not on coursework. It is more on sort of the additional pieces, the research, the scholarly activity. The coursework is critically important, but these other pieces and maintaining the relationships with your committee and your department, those are also really important. Be proactive in reading up on literature, preparing yourself to engage with instructors, program directors, major professors, and committee members, because again, those relationships are critical to your success. So make sure that you are you're using the time with these outstanding faculty as efficiently as possible. Don't delay in achieving your benchmarks. What do I mean by benchmarks? I mean things like your program of study, turning in forms for your committees. These things that seem easy to do, it's best to do them as quickly as possible. Scheduling your exams, your qualifying exams if you're a doctoral student, et cetera, et cetera. This one is really important. Maintain clear and open lines of communication with your supervisors. Make sure you understand the expectations of your program so that you're very clear on what is needed from you. And if you have a need for any accommodations, please let it be known clearly up front. So if you need help because you have you're taking care of, you have dependents that you're taking care of, if you have a disability, please let it be known so that you can get the support you need to succeed in the program. And that's really important. And then finally, this is probably the most important one. Try to enjoy the graduate school experience. Yes, it's going to sound challenging because it's so demanding, but it's critical that you try to enjoy this moment. Take it from me, it goes really fast, and graduate school has been the best time of my life. I met a lot of people, dear friends from around the world that I try to stay in contact with, and it's just a wonderful experience where you grow, you're no longer an undergraduate, you're contributing to training undergraduates and being part of the fabric of this institution. So with that, I think I'll stop. Narki, once again, I want to thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to be here. I want to congratulate you for being accepted, and congratulate you for taking that step to invest in your future training and development. So Narki, I'll stop at that point and turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Walcott. Always a pleasure to see you. And also thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. Always glad to see you. And I saw someone say, thank you for those words, Dr. Walcott. So, y'all, it's great to have Dr. Walcott as a person in your corner. It has been an amazing experience just knowing him for as long as I have. So, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. So you should be able to see my screen. Once again, hello. My name is Narki Norton. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment in the Graduate School. I am the person who has been emailing you for quite some time now. So now you also see a face to a name. We're very glad to have you here. Once again, this is the most historic numbers we've ever seen. And I think being able to do this virtually, although this may not be ideal, it allows a lot of people from Accra or India or Canada to be able to Zoom in. So we're glad that you are here today. And we hope that this information is helpful. I want to let you know that traditionally, this program is a 4-hour in-person program. I love to say that because we got it down to 2. So it's going to be a very tight agenda today, but we wanted to make sure the time was reasonable. We also want to be as efficient as possible because we know everyone has something to do. Our campus partners as well, we are very glad you're here. So just keep that in mind that we really didn't want to keep you on Zoom for 4 hours. So we're going to try and finish at 6 o'clock and be efficient with our time. So I hope that this model allows the information you need, but also allows you to still be able to enjoy your day or your night, depending on where you are and what time zone you're at. So we just had our welcome from Dr. Walcott, our Vice Provost and Dean. Please take those nuggets and apply them. It would be great for you to keep this in mind. Now we're switching to our campus partners. Once again, this presentation will be shared for those who have attended. This also Zoom will be shared. We recorded one in March, one in May. So we're going to send one recording either late May or early June for those who want to review some of the content we went through. So we're going to give you the model of what we're doing with our very efficient campus partners who will be presenting. One will be speaking for a few minutes. If there are some large conceptual questions you want to ask, you can put it in the chat and Francis will repost and synthesize that. And then I'll also do the same thing for the next speaker. I did send you an email an hour and a half before that had the useful resources for prospective students. That is a more detailed presentation of each of these campus partners and what they're providing. So if you want the nuts and bolts, you want to go to that link, but they're just here to hit on the information as efficiently as possible so that you can get some of those highlights. So once again, keep the chat clear because there may be some major conceptual questions someone might have to ask. If not, that's okay. And once again, you can always go to the link. So we're first going to start with Elizabeth White, UGA Libraries. Elizabeth, the floor is yours.
Hey, welcome everybody. I agree, this is like the biggest accepted students day I have ever spoken at. Welcome potentially to UGA. I hope you choose us for your graduate career. I'm going to talk today briefly about the resources that the libraries has available to support you and your research. So my information is available. If you have any specific questions and you'd rather just email me directly, please feel free. I'm happy to answer them. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I know. Sometimes I still feel kind of weird when I share my screen, even all these times that we have been using Zoom. So hold on one second. Okay, so the UGA Libraries supports the research and the scholarly output that students will be doing. So not just stuff for your classes, but when it's time to do research for your dissertations, etc., we're available to assist you. We are the largest library in the state of Georgia, and we also are one of the largest libraries in the Southeast. We have a great university, so we have to have a great library to support everyone. We have multiple buildings on campus. We have a science library, which is in the Boyd building. We have a special collections library. We have the main library on North Campus. And then we have a hybrid classroom study space building called the Miller Learning Center, and that's where I'm based. And there are a lot of little niche libraries on campus as well. So we are a large campus and we have a lot of libraries to support you. The first thing I like to point out is that there are people like me. I am the librarian for Political Science, International Affairs, and Public Administration. So basically, if you were in SPIA, I'm your librarian. That means that you can contact me for assistance with research. If you are having trouble narrowing down on a topic, or you have questions about doing a literature review, or you're trying to find something very specific and you don't know where it is, I'm available to assist you. I do a lot of things. I teach classes, I help craft research assignments, I train people on how to use citation management software, a lot of different things. I also assist people with finding grant funding opportunities using Pivot. Pivot is a software database that we at the libraries, with the assistance of the Office of Research, have that allows people to search and set up search alerts for grant opportunities. And these are also grant opportunities for graduate students. So if you're interested, you can definitely get trained in how to use that. In addition to having a massive collection of materials, we have nearly 5 million books, and we have, I think, about 20 million full text articles. So a lot of things available for you to use for doing your research. We also have software and other services available for you to use. We provide citation management software for free. That's ProQuest, RefWorks, and EndNote. Basically, the citation managers, if you've never used them before, allow you to save all of your research citations in one place and give you the opportunity to then take those citations and insert them into a Word document, which means that you're starting to write your paper. If you're like me, the citation part is the part you hate the most. These, besides organizing all your research, will then help you cite it correctly. We also do a lot of seminars. We have a GIS lab. We do a whole grad seminar about how to do research, how to do an in-depth lit review, how to use GIS software, how to use citation managers, and we do those every semester. So we do support you in all of your research endeavors. We also have services on campus that you can use. We have a digital media lab. If you need to record or edit any video or audio, the Digital Media Lab is in the Miller Learning Center. It has a recording booth, Mac Pros, as well as professional multimedia software. We also have a makerspace. So if you are interested in 3D printing, drafting software, using robotics kits or virtual reality, all those things, we have them in the makerspace and they are free for you to use. We also have a very robust technology lending program. The tech lending program is available to students. We check out cameras, laptops, microphones, all sorts of things. So if you're going out into the field and you would like to check out one of these things, you can do that. We also have a digital humanities lab for people who are doing textual analysis. We have people there to assist you with that, as well as software. And we have an amazing amount of events that we do. The first event that I like to point out to people is our pause and relax that we have every semester, where we bring in service dogs and essentially you can come pet them. It's always on the reading day, and we do try to make sure that you are supported as students. Graduate school is hard. Graduate school takes this thing you love and then it makes sure you love it by kind of testing everything. So I want to make sure that everyone knows that there are people here to help you, that there are services available. It is our job to support you in your graduate experience. And I want to make sure that you know that the UGA Libraries is available to assist you in a myriad of ways. look for our open houses in the fall. We will have ones in the main library and the science library. You can come and get a tour. You can meet your librarian. Of all the librarians on campus, we have subject specialists like myself who are experts, and you can come and talk to them and introduce yourself and, you know, get to know them. I highly recommend, you know, attending the open houses if you can. They'll be in the news portion of our website when we set the final date and time. But I do want to really highlight that you can contact me. And our library's homepage, libs.uga.edu, has a lot of information about our collection, our services, and you can also contact us through that. So it is my job to assist you. I always tell people that, you know, us librarians, it just makes us happy when graduate students succeed. You know, we want to support you so you can go out and change the world. So please don't hesitate to contact me or contact us through our website, and I will be happy to talk to you about all the things we can do for you while you're a graduate student at UGA. So
thank you so much, Liz. Really appreciate you being here. And then Francis will synthesize those main questions and repost it in the main chat. And while that's taking place, our next speaker is Dr. Andrew Crane from Experiential Professional Development. Dr. Crane, the floor is yours. And we hate to see those puppies go away.
I know, let me stop sharing. There we go.
Thank you again, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Now I wish I had puppies to share, but I'll keep that in mind for next time. All right, let me throw up all my information here so you can see it all at once. Well, welcome everyone. Whoa, I have a giant work monitor and it takes me a minute to get oriented sometimes. So welcome everyone, and I just want to echo the welcome and thank you for thinking about coming to UGA and hopefully coming to UGA and joining us in the fall. So my name is Andrew Crane. I work in the graduate school with NARCI. Maybe I'll just shout really loud because he's probably down the hall right now. My title is Director of Experiential Professional Development. So our office was created about 3 years ago. You can see here I have the mission statement for our office to basically support graduate student career development and expand the support, especially in the areas of industry, government, nonprofit work. So graduate students and especially doctoral students get a lot of training related to academic work when they're going through their programs. But as we know, there is a sort of infinite number of different things that you can do with a graduate degree. We provide services for all master's and doctoral students, which there are a lot of you, over 7,000. We have a lot of specialized programs for PhD students, and then master's students sometimes will come to our programs, or sometimes we'll use the services of the Career Center, which you'll hear about as well, I think, today. So you can see here some of the stats, you know, how many doctoral graduates come out of UGA each year and the stats where people go. We spend a lot of time just trying to spread awareness around where our students do go, what are the things you can do or might be exploring as you go through your program, and just want you to go throughout your studies and into your career search with open eyes around, about all the options that are in front of you. Graduate students, you know, we collect data periodically on what the areas of need are, and graduate students, as you see here on the bottom of the slide, express interest in just wanting more general support around exploring career options, kind of building a plan for their job search or their career journey, even just finding job opportunities, where to look if you're looking in one of these other sectors, networking and salary negotiation. So these are some of the top kind of areas of demand where students request a lot of help. One thing that I always encourage folks to do during this session is to check out our Twitter account and to follow. You see the link here on the bottom of our screen. You'll get, when you arrive on campus, you'll get emails from us around programs and events and resources that we offer, and that logo that you see at the top will be on all those emails, but we use social media to share that information as well, so give us a follow. I mentioned the Career Center, and as you learn more about them, one of the things you'll learn is that they do a lot of one-on-one advising with students as well as programs. We don't do one-on-one advising because I'm an office of one, but we do a lot of different kind of group programs and workshops and things like that. So this is sort of what's in our portfolio and the different types of supports that we offer as you go through your graduate student journey. You'll see, some things are traditional workshops where we just present on these different topics. Some of those things I mentioned, like career exploration, or more specifics like how to use LinkedIn, converting your CV to a resume. So, tactical things that you can use in your job search. And then most of everything else we do is on that experiential side of things. So taking students to visit companies, we do things locally in Atlanta and in the Athens area, but we have even taken students out of state or elsewhere in the state to visit a company firsthand and network and learn more from alumni about what they're doing. So again, just something else that you can do to kind of supplement what you're learning about in your programs. Lots of panel discussions or other formats where you can interact with alumni or other professionals who work in the field. Something like called job simulations, which is a sort of miniature internship or case study that we do periodically in different career fields. So all these are ways for you to build your network, test out different ideas, and just explore where your skills fit in different settings. One of the big things that we do specific to PhDs is offering a couple different internship programs for either on-campus or off-campus opportunities. So I just actually left our onboarding session for our summer internship, which is for, I think, 15 PhDs in the humanities and social sciences who are going to be working on campus in different areas of the university for the next couple months. For folks who are interested in industry or other areas, we also in the last year have started an off-campus internship program that's oriented towards PhDs in STEM. So we're open to testing out different ideas and offering a mix of different things to try to make career exploration really accessible to you. We have a lot of alumni who are doing really cool stuff that we bring back to campus all the time and want to interact with you and add that layer of support as you go through your studies. And then the resources and advocacy, again, I mentioned going on sort of an informational tour around campus and sharing stats about career outcomes and the resources that you can access. Aside from the programs, we try to develop static resources that you can access as well. I'll post the link to our website, or Narki, if you want to post the link to our website, if you have it, that's where a lot of those things live. So I'll close just with this recap, which is over the past year, we continue doing this work even with the pandemic, and did a lot of really great programming that was virtual. And, we're still able to engage with a lot of different companies, a really diverse mix of nonprofits, government agencies, biotech, you name it. And of course, lots of partners on campus. So we could spend a whole hour kind of talking about all the things you can do on and off campus, but I think the important thing is for you to know at this point that there are a lot of folks who are invested in supporting you as you go through your studies, and career development is no different. We want you to be successful academically. We want you to feel comfortable on campus, socially and mentally, and of course be ready for what's next when you leave. And so the career development piece is really important, and we're working hard to continue adding more support for you in those areas. So thank you, Narki, and I'll say go dogs, and hopefully we'll see you as a Bulldog on campus in a few months.
Thank you so much, Dr. Crane. And yes, I am 2 doors down from you. So thanks for your time. We did not get any questions thus far, but if you don't mind staying for about 2 minutes to just watch the chat, just in case, and if not, you're good to go. Next, we will have Carrie Campbell from Housing. Carrie, the floor is yours.
Okay, let me share. All right. Well, we'll start with the website. So first, y'all will want to register for housing if you're at all interested in housing. There we go, PowerPoint. because the way that we do housing is in the order in which you register is the order in which you actually are choosing your own space to live. So University of Georgia is really fortunate in the fact that we have student housing specifically for graduate students set aside. So you're not, in a building with a bunch of 18-year-olds. You're in an apartment where you have, like-minded students around you, and you can prepare to do all that reading that's going to happen for graduate school. So that's really fortunate. And we have 3 different areas that you can choose from. And it's just a matter of choosing once you've registered. If you're at all interested, I encourage you to go ahead and register for housing. It's a $35 fee. And then that will just put you in line for us to give you an opportunity to choose your own space. So a little bit about the structure of how graduate housing works at UGA is we have a University Village community and 3 separate kind of apartment complexes within that community. We have 22 apartment buildings total, so there's a lot of room, but they do tend to fill up. So if you're interested, like I said, go ahead and do that registration. I'll go over that in a little bit. If you're anyone in the College of Public Health, we have townhomes on the Health Sciences campus. So where all your classes are, we have townhomes there. So it's a great opportunity to just kind of walk to class every day and be right there where your library is and where your professors are. So that's an option for people in the College of Public Health to get a townhome on the Health Sciences campus, which is about a mile from main campus if you're looking at a map. So one of the great reasons, or one of the great things about living on campus are all the great amenities that you get, right? So not only are you on location in the middle of everything, you've got all these other things that you can count. So you've got a community space that you can rent out. You've got free laundry, on-site laundry. The townhomes actually have in-unit laundry. Some of the apartments do too. There's a community garden, tennis courts, basketball courts. Everything's on the UGA bus line and the Athens City bus line, which is free for students to use as well through the transportation fee. And then within the apartments, the University Village ones are unfurnished. The townhomes for College of Public Health are furnished. So you can actually have a roommate option to split the rent rate with you. So if you get a 2-bedroom apartment, you can actually split that rent rate with a roommate, make that really affordable. And then of course, your utilities are included too. So power, sewer, water, internet, all included with the rate. And that is posted just monthly to your student account. So if you have scholarships or grants or anything like that, then loans, and it's posting directly to your student account, that's a great way to just have something that you're not really paying out of pocket as well. So I talked a little bit about the options. Here's kind of the rates for those different options. So you would be able to choose when it's your turn. We'll just email you. We'll say, hey, at this date and time, you'll be able to go and look at all the options and choose from the ones available to you. If you don't see anything you like, no problem. You just walk away from the process and you're not committed. But I will say that there's these are the rates for this year. So you can see how that roommate option, if you share an apartment with a roommate, gets you a really good rate for living on campus. So because you're basically splitting that rent rate with a person. I'm going to go to the website in a minute so you can see where to get all the details for this, but I wanted to kind of get through the bulk of it first. As far as security goes, there's a desk, like there's a staff member sitting at a desk in all these locations there to help you 24 hours a day. You lost your key or your air conditioner's not working and it's August, which is an emergency in Georgia, or if you see something suspicious, there's always somebody there to help you. I also want to mention that we have graduate assistantships in housing. We employ about 20 graduate students. That process is wrapped up for this year, but I wanted to give y'all a heads up for next year because we do this really early. And so the selection process is over for fall and spring of 2021-22. But keep in mind that if you're interested in an assistantship with housing for 22-23, which is really looking forward, that process opens this December. And they're really competitive because not only do they have a tuition waiver, but they include housing and a meal plan, as well as a stipend. So those are some great assistantships to have. Really quick, I'm going to go to our website so you can kind of see what that looks like. So you're just at housing.ug.edu. You could be over here in prospective. You could be incoming if you're lucky and you've committed. You could be incoming. You just go to explore options and you'll be able to see, and you can sort by apartments. I'm just going to click on, I'm going to sort by type so I can see just the apartments, which show up first. University Village, and I'll tell you all about it. So there's a map. It tells you what the rates are. It tells you what the bus routes are. So that's a great way to kind of sort through and kind of figure out what you want. But like I said, go ahead and apply for housing if you're at all interested, and that gets you in the best position to be able to choose a space from what is available. And that is all I have.
Thank you so much, Carrie. There are several questions and Francis will synthesize those. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kenyatta Nesbitt from Career Center. Kenyatta, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Narki. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
And nice to meet you, by the way, Kenyatta.
Nice to meet you as well virtually for now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Kenyatta Nesbitt, and I am a career consultant here in the UGA Career Center. And I'm excited to share with you a brief overview of some resources and services that we provide specifically for graduate students and ways that you can engage with our office from your first day here at UGA. First, I think it's important for you to note that we are located on the second floor of Clark Howell Hall, and our current operations are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Here in the Career Center, our ultimate goal is to provide students with opportunities that they need in order to get hired. And that involves you being able to participate in Career Center workshops and events, very similar to a lot of the content that Dr. Crane was sharing. We collaborate in various ways to host workshops and opportunities for you to gain that experience. And along those lines, also assisting you with navigating various job and internship opportunities that allow you to gain the necessary experience in order to get hired. And finally, we also facilitate the opportunities for you to attend at least one of our more than 15 career fairs that we host each semester through the Career Center. More along the lines of workshops and resources, again, we offer specific graduate student tailored workshops on topics relating to the Imagine PhD Lab, which is a partnership with the Experiential Professional Development, as well as other topics pertaining to resume, CV and cover letter writing, job search and networking, interviewing, and more. Also, each semester, we facilitate our Arch Ready Professionalism Certificate Series, which is comprised of over 30 workshops that are available to both undergraduate and graduate students that cover a variety of professionalism topics and subjects. And then, of course, at the bottom of my screen is the URL that will direct you to a space on our website where we have concatenated a lot of resources that are targeted specifically to our graduate students. Another resource that I want to highlight during our time together is our Graduate Student Career Guide. And it's almost, if you will, think of it as your compass as you're navigating your graduate student experience here. So it provides you strategies and content and tips to navigate various aspects of your personal career planning endeavors. As you can see from the screenshot on the right, there are various topics that you can gain information and insight on from samples and additional resources. That includes networking, developing your application materials, preparing and launching your individual job or internship searches, and even interview prep resources. Moreover, a wildly popular resource that we facilitate through the UGA Career Center is our UGA Mentor Program. And this is an interactive opportunity for students to connect with an experienced UGA alumni mentor that can help you navigate not only your professional and academic interests, but also also even some of your personal interests. Now, through the UGA Mentor Program database, you're able to search for an alumni mentor using a variety of search criteria that fit your unique student experiences. And that can include specific industries that you may be interested in, your specific degree of interest, your location preferences, and even any identities or affinities that really align with your unique experience. To get started by completing your profile and finding your mentor, just visit mentor.uga.edu. and it'll provide additional instructions and steps for you to get access to the mentor program database. Another resource that I want to highlight is Handshake, which is our UGA specific job and internship board that is available for undergraduate, graduates, and graduate students and alumni. Now, through Handshake, you have access to a lot of different resources and functionalities. One of which is the fact that Handshake is the platform that you can utilize to schedule future career consultation appointments with your specific career consultant. You also have the opportunity to research employers, available internship and job postings, and even register for future networking events, career fairs, and any future employer info sessions that may be hosted here at the University of Georgia. One other resource that I also want to take a few seconds to highlight is InterStride. And InterStride is one of our virtual resources that are available for both international and our domestic students. Now, this will allow you to maximize your individual international experience and even your employment potential, because you have the opportunity to explore and research relevant job listings, internship listings, as well as current hiring trends, relevant employer information based on your interest in your research, and also up-to-date immigration guidance for you as you continue through your career planning endeavors. And very briefly, this is a more comprehensive look at the plethora of service offerings that we have here in the UGA Career Center. So from any topic ranging from career exploration, interview prep, salary negotiation, assistance with networking strategy, mock interviews. If you can name it and think of it that as it relates to career planning, we offer assistance with it. One final point that I want to make during our time together is just highlighting various ways that you can engage with our office and our career consultant team. First, I want to stress the importance or you knowing that the UGA Career Center has a college-specific model. And what that means is for every major that's offered here at UGA, you have a dedicated career consultant that is available to assist you throughout your career planning needs. Here are 3 key ways that you can meet with your individual career consultant. Of course, you can visit the Career Center drop-in hours each semester that we host every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2. And your specific career consultant also hosts satellite hours each semester that vary based on the time and location. And you'll receive those specific communications from your designated career consultant. And then finally, of course, we have our virtual or our in-office appointments, and you're able to schedule those again by utilizing Handshake, or you can call our Career Center front desk for assistance with scheduling. And to find out more about who your specific career consultant is, we do have a directory on our website that highlights our entire department staff, including our full career consultant team. Of course, I encourage you to check out our website for complete resources and services that we have available at career.uga.edu. And also make sure that you follow us on social media at UGA Career Center. Thank you all so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Kenyatta. The only question I saw was asking for a link to your website. So if you don't mind posting that to the general chat, that would be great. And if you don't mind staying a minute or two, just in case any questions pop up, and then you're good to go. I appreciate meeting you. Very festive glasses. Really enjoy them. And thank you so much for coming today. Next is Christine Groft from University Health Center. Christine, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Let me figure out, like everyone else here, on the screen sharing. For some reason, it's not allowing me. I don't know if I'm a host. Oh, there I am. Thank you. So first off, welcome everyone. I know it's been a long year, and I would have to definitely ditto the comment in regards to this is the largest, I think, that we've had for accepting day students. So very large attendance, and very excited to be here to speak to all of you. So the University Health Center, of course, this year, many people, it may not have been as busy. The University Health Center was super busy. We had to pivot all of our basically all of our services to accommodate anything that was coming our way with CDC, whether it was vaccines, which we are currently working through a campaign, but also we had to accommodate testing and making sure we were monitoring and surveillance testing. And we had a thing called dog check, where we had our entire population just kind of getting involved and letting us know what they were up to, so that we can kind of monitor where maybe COVID was kind of tracking. So just to give you a little insight, it's been a very busy year for us at the University Health Center. But I'm very excited to have you all here, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing people in person. I know that we're doing Zoom right now, but I'm so looking forward to seeing all these faces on here on campus. And it would be nice to have you all come visit the University Health Center. And as you know, we're doing Zoom, so it's a little impossible to get you through the building at the moment. And what we like to do is a little virtual tour, because often, as you can see the building in the picture here, we have a 110,000 square foot facility that is dedicated to an integrated medical, specialty, and wellness care all under one roof. And the best way for me to show you is through the virtual video. So I'm going to take a moment and allow us to go through this video, and then I'll come back with some more information. Oops. So apologize for the music. I realized there's a little toggle button under there that was hidden behind the slides. So you got to see the video, and the video, is everybody hearing me okay? Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure. Awesome. So in the video, you got to see a little bit of what services we offer at the health center. And just to kind of recap, and what would be super important for you or your family that comes to the University of Georgia or to Athens community, we do support our grad students, their spouses, and dependents. And the spouses and the graduate student or PhD student, the student coming through, would have access to our primary care as well. And I'll go into a little bit more detail in just a few minutes. But the greatest part, like I mentioned, is the integrated medical specialty and wellness care all under one roof. We have easy scheduling 24/7 through our patient portal, and we do have the UGA student health fee that affords our students primary care services with the clinicians that are free. Telehealth options are now available for most of our services. We've gotten that pretty much figured out after this year. We had to quickly adapt, and with that adaptation, we included our telehealth as well as a platform of virtual wellness programming. So our primary medical care home, we've got four primary medical care homes. Each are comprised of nurse practitioners, medical clinicians, as well as our PA staff. And this particular medical home you would be assigned to, they would be the home you would go to every time you came to the health center. So we do this primarily so that you have appointments. When you have an appointment, it's met, meaning you're not waiting for hours to get into your appointment. But we also do this so that you have a family away from home that you start to get to know. They get to know what you need and work with you towards maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So what I had mentioned earlier about dependents, et cetera, the graduate student and their dependent are able to utilize the primary medical care as well as all the services under the health center. Dependents are able to use some of our specialty care, which I will show you in just a minute. Before I go into the next slide, something to note that we've been able to update in the last 2 years is we recognize our primary care is usually the first stop for most students. So when they come in, they're discussing all things, right? Whether it's physical health, mental health. And so we have a department under the health center called Counseling and Psychiatric Services. And to make it more streamlined and easier access to our clinicians under mental health, we are now instilling what's called an integrated behavioral health care manager into each of our primary care clinics. So if you go visit with a primary care clinician, you will have access if you're stating you're stressed, anxious, you're needing some support, mental health, without leaving that primary care home. They will transition you over to a CAPS clinician to chat about what is going on and find the resources, and will help to meet your needs that you need to take care of at that time. The benefit of this is that you don't have to leave and then go try to make another appointment with CAPS. This is all integrated, and it makes it seamless for the patient so that they're not anxious about having to now go make another appointment with now a mental health provider. So this is a really awesome upgrade that we've made within our primary care home. So I mentioned specialty care. So we have our primary care homes all located in the building, but these are all of our specialty care units as well that are located within the building. All of these are full service. Our dental clinic, vision clinic, massage, our allergy, or at least the travel clinic, all of those our dependents can utilize. So like my kids come to the dental clinic, they come to the vision clinic. We've had massages, and we can utilize the pharmacy as well. Any of our prescriptions can be transferred. The pharmacy acts as a CVS, in town. So we've got over the counter, and they're very accommodating, especially when, for example, I don't know, maybe it's a certain ice pack that you use because you're a runner and you're not able to find it anywhere. Our pharmacists, if they know that, they will get it in stock and make sure that they have it in stock for you. Our prices are much lower. They also offer vaccines there for flu. And usually our pharmacy, lab, and radiology that support all of our primary care and all of our clinics, they will stay open an hour beyond services so that they can make sure to accommodate all the prescriptions. The lab and radiology department, everything again is done in-house. You're not going to have to leave and go to another lab somewhere off campus. Our radiology, we now have ultrasound, which is pretty awesome. So now we don't have to send that out for referral either. And I mentioned our counseling and psychiatry, and I'll go into that just a few minutes more. And we have our health promotion, and within that is housed our Fontaine Center, which is a foundation that supports alcohol and other drug education and support services. So all of these services are offered under our roof. So let me go into the health promotion department just a little bit, because What's really unique about this department is they really focus on prevention and early intervention, while they still do have support services that are offered through the Fontaine Center. The programs you see on the left, the wellness coaching, peer mentoring, relationship, social skills, we do work with the graduate school on offering many of these programs specific to graduate students, and these are all free. So our goal here is to keep you healthy, keep you well, and offer these free programs. We offer yoga. We've done aromatherapy, and we've done all sorts of great programs. We did a comedy class in the last year, and we're going to offer it again coming up, where students can join this comedy class, and it's really talking about things that have troubled them and making light of it and putting it into an improv, and super fun to do. So again, this is another free program that Health Promotion Department offers. Our counseling and psychiatric services, we are short-term, individual, and we also have group counseling available. The other benefit is we now have telehealth options. So if somebody feels uncomfortable just coming into the building and actually sitting down in an office with a clinician, they can opt for the telehealth option. We have psychiatry. We can handle any prescriptions that you need to maintain, but also have psychiatrists on hand and on staff. We do offer crisis intervention. And we do take referrals. Like if you have a clinician back home that you work with and you want to transfer your care, you can do that. Again, it is short term. However, once we've completed the care model, we then work with students to find somebody in the community that they can refer to, we can resource to in regards to whether it's psychiatry, it could be, I don't know, family care, any of those offerings. I also wanted to let you know that there are 3 other counseling units on campus that I know are not part of the health center, but they're on campus and they offer care as well for all of our UGA students, staff, family members, and our graduate students. So you see the 24/7 crisis line, they are available 24/7. We are going to have some really awesome updates coming up soon. And I can say that we are looking at removing the copay for all students to come to CAPS. So that means whatever we bill to the insurance is billed to the insurance, and students will not have to be paying copays out of pocket to come to see CAPS in the future. So we'll be hoping to announce that fully in the end of June, but that is coming up. And we do work once again with the graduate schools. So if you do want to speak to somebody at CAPS and you're struggling to get in, please let somebody know at the graduate school. They will work with us. We'll make sure to accommodate whatever needs you may have. And finally, you'll see this hashtag and this Be Well UGA across campus. Once again, this is promoting all of those workshops, those prevention type outreach programs that we offer across campus. Some of those are wellness coaching, that's free. We offer yoga, and all those classes that I was mentioning earlier are free to all of our students. And again, we do offer some graduate level programs, and again, free. They're hosted by our health promotion, CAPS, and some other of our campus partners on campus. If you need to find out where those programs are or what's happening at that time, if you even put in the hashtag BeWellUGA in our Instagram or our Facebook, it will pull up all the programs that are offered free to students on campus. So it's a way to kind of centralize it so you don't have to look too far. And then finally, I just mentioned some of our social media. If you keep up with us at the UGA Health Center, we do often not just specials on, like our vision clinic will have a sidewalk sale, which is greatly reduced frames, and which is pretty awesome. And we do dental care, but we also will be sending out updates, whether it's COVID related, flu related, things that you may need to know about in the future. So it's good to follow us and just stay tuned. So anybody have any questions, please don't hesitate.
Thank you, Christine. And then Francis will be consolidating those for you. Always a pleasure to see you. There are some questions. And while we are answering those questions in the chat, last but not least, we have Mandy Branch from Financial Aid. Mandy, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me share my screen. Just one moment. All right, thank you so much for the introduction. I will get started talking about financial aid. My name is Mandy Branch. I'm our Assistant Director of Outreach, Training, and Communications. And our office assists graduate students in procuring federal direct loans for graduate school. There are two types of loans we assist graduate students with: the federal direct unsubsidized loan and the federal grad plus loan. To apply for federal direct student loans, you have to complete the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. If you are needing loans for this summer, so summer 2021, you would complete the 2020-21 FAFSA. And then if you need loans starting in the fall, you complete the 21-22 FAFSA. To qualify for federal direct student loans, a student must be a U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. So we're looking at students basically who are U.S. nationals, U.S. permanent residents. You do also have to be in an eligible degree program. So if you're in a certificate only program, those do not qualify for federal student aid here at UGA. You do also have to be enrolled at least half-time, and I'll talk more about that later on. And you have to maintain satisfactory academic progress while in college. So typically for graduate students, that means you have to earn at least 67% of the hours you attempt and maintain at least a 3.0. So the main type of loan we assist graduate students with is the federal direct unsubsidized loan. It does accrue interest while you're in school. You can pay the interest while you're in school, or you can let the interest add to the principal and begin payment 6 months after you graduate or become enrolled less than half time. If you're taking out a loan this summer, the interest rate for that loan is 4.3% fixed, and then loans for the upcoming year are at a 5.28% fixed interest rate. This is the max you can borrow in that loan for the academic year. It's $20,500. If additional loan funds are needed, you may be able to borrow a grad plus loan. This loan does require a credit check. We will generate what are called the official awards in mid-June for the upcoming academic year. So that's the year that begins with fall 2021. If you see that you've been awarded a grad plus loan, we post those in Athena and you accept it. Your acceptance of the loan is what initiates that credit check. And you'll get an email from Federal Student Aid regarding whether or not you've been approved or denied for the loan. This loan has a higher interest rate than the unsubsidized loan. So we encourage you to use the unsubsidized loan first and borrow the grad plus loan only once you've maxed out that unsubsidized loan. The interest rate for grad plus loans dispersed during the summer, for the summer we're in right now, is 5.3% fixed. And then for grad plus loans dispersed during the 21-22 academic year, that interest rate is 6.28% fixed. How are loan amounts determined? So a student cannot borrow loans and other financial aid over the school's estimated cost of attendance. Our office will provide you in Athena with an estimated cost of attendance figure that includes direct costs to UGA, so tuition and student fees, and indirect costs, an amount for housing, board, which is basically food, an estimate for books, for transportation, and living expenses. So you can borrow funds for all of those things, but your federal loans and your other aid cannot exceed the school's cost of attendance. So if a student has an assistantship, for example, with an assistantship, you are getting your tuition waived. So therefore you could not borrow loans for the tuition, but you could borrow loans for the other items. Additional items to consider: you do have to be enrolled at least half-time to borrow a loan. For graduate students at UGA, half-time for fall or spring for federal aid purposes is at least 5 hours. You have to be in at least 5 hours to get a loan. And then during the summer, it's 3 hours. If you are a first-time borrower, once you've accepted your loans in Athena, you will then need to go to studentaid.gov and complete a master promissory note. That's the legal document you're signing to say you understand it's a loan and has to be repaid. And then you also have to do something called entrance counseling. So that's basically you read information about what it means to be a borrower, you answer some quiz questions, and that's what entrance counseling is. Both of those items are completed through studentaid.gov. You log into that with your MyID. That's what you use to sign your FAFSA to complete those items. And it's very important to complete the correct promissory note. The Grad Plus loan requires a separate promissory note. So if you're borrowing the unsubsidized loan and the Grad Plus loan, you may need to complete 2 promissory notes. If you're borrowing the unsubsidized loan, then make sure when you log into studentaid.gov that you're completing the promissory note for the unsubsidized loan. Sometimes students will accidentally complete the promissory note for the Grad Plus loan when they haven't borrowed a Grad Plus loan. So make sure you're completing the unsubsidized loan promissory note if you're borrowing an unsubsidized loan. Both Georgia residents, non-residents, and international students, so all graduate students can use our Scholarship Universe portal to search for scholarships. You log into that portal with your UGA My ID and password. It's uga.scholarshipuniverse.com. It'll start asking you questions to help you create a profile, and then it'll match you up with scholarships to match your profile. So I do encourage students, Georgia residents, non-residents, international students to all use our Scholarship Universe portal to search for scholarships. And of course, if you have additional questions about the financial aid process, this is our contact information. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. We are appointment-based due to COVID. So if you want to schedule an appointment, either Zoom, phone, or in person, you can go to our website. Right on our homepage, we have a contacting OSFA page where you can click there and then schedule an appointment. You can also give our office a call or send us an email, and we strive to respond to our emails within 48 hours if at all possible. Hopefully that was helpful. Thank you so much, and I'll stay on to see if we have any questions for me in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mandy, for coming. I've got 3 questions that I'm reposting in the main chat for you. And then there may be a couple that also fly in. Really appreciate all of my campus panelists. Y'all have been worked today because this is a historic number of students. We're very excited to be able to answer these questions and get some information. While this is taking place, please take a Zoom break. Be back at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard. So we're just going to take a Zoom break. I'm going to once again repost those last 3 questions that was directed towards Mandy. And then we will wish Mandy and Christine a good afternoon. We know y'all have been at the helm of working since 8 o'clock. So be back at 5:15, and we're going to talk about a lot of Athens things, a lot of the next steps for incoming students. There's still the grad panel. So please be right on time because we're going to keep rolling. Thank you so much. For Thomas, Kamika, once again, the PowerPoint will be sent with the links, and also some of my content has links from financial aid as well as the other campus partners. So those links will be included after today's event. And that includes what was discussed in university health, experiential professional development, housing, libraries, all of those campus partners. They have links that are also in my presentation. So you will get that from me. But in addition to that, what I emailed you an hour and a half before today has links on useful resources, which will allow you to go deeper into that presentation that Mandy shared. So keep that in mind. We've got 4 minutes left before we shift gears. Also, just as a reminder, some of these detailed questions can be answered from those links. Do not be afraid to access that extra information. And the contact information is also included in these slides as well. If you cannot find questions that are on the websites or on the detailed presentations. Once again, we want to make sure we give as much resources to you as possible before you get here. I will be discussing transportation, Neha. So there are buses on campus, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit as well. And someone mentioned TAP. I am a TAP recipient. So we'll be glad to talk about that. If you want to email me any questions, let me know. But TAP you do not pay any fees with TAP as long as it's an eligible TAP program. The University System of Georgia will cover the cost. The thing that you're looking to pay as a TAP recipient is books. If you're taking labs or you have to buy books, that's something that is out of pocket, but tuition and fees does not apply to TAP. You're welcome, Neha. All right, Gwen, to whom should I ask this question? I'm over 62. Where do I obtain the waiver? Can you specify what waiver you're referencing, Gwen, in the chat? If you don't mind, that would be great. Yes, Ms. Hill, I am glad to talk about being a TAP recipient. I am grateful to work for the University System of Georgia. So TAP is an awesome program. For those who are unaware of what that acronym means, it's Tuition Assistance Program for anyone who works for the University System of Georgia for 6 months or more as a full-time benefits eligible person. So if you are in that position like I am, then you have the ability to go to, for the most part, several different graduate programs. All right, we have about 1 to 2 minutes left. Hopefully, Demetria, that answered your question. I just saw that you asked, what is TAP? All right, and I see that that's being answered. Love TAP too, yes. Okay. And I see Gwen is talking about over 62 pays no tuition in Georgia. I'm not sure, Mandy, if you've heard of where that waiver might be. I'm not aware off the top of my head. I would have to search for something like that since that's very detailed.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes, so Gwen was saying there's a waiver for those who are over 62 that then they don't have to pay tuition. Do you know of anything like that?
I can find out more information about that through the Office of the Registrar's website, I believe.
Gotcha.
And I will type the registrar's web address in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, we're about to shift gears. Mandy, thanks again. We're very happy to have you here today. And once you send that link, feel free to enjoy the rest of your evening. Once again, everyone, you will receive today's recording. You'll receive the PowerPoints as well. We have been really utilizing the strengths of our campus partners to come in. I am going to continue sharing my screen where I was before. And I'm going to hit the share button. And I'm going to click share. There we are. All right, everyone. So we are around 5:15. I really want to be, once again, respectful of your time. We still have our grad panel right after the next steps presentation, which I'm about to go over. So I'm going to be as efficient as possible, once again, to try not to hold you too far past 6 p.m. Eastern. That's my goal. If we go over a little bit, I hope that if you're willing to stay, you can. But I'm going to just be super efficient with my content. Before we do so, I am a big fan of UGA Trivia. So I'm going to launch the poll. I'm going to admit some folks who are joining us from the waiting room. And then, Francis, if you don't mind watching that waiting room, that would be great. I'm going to launch a poll which has all the questions today. Feel free to click the answers that you think is correct, and we'll go through them one at a time. So As you're answering these questions, I'm going to just read them out loud, but go ahead and feel free to read and answer on your own. When did classes start at UGA? There are 4 different options of when you think or when you might know when classes started at Georgia. Next question, what was UGA's first mascot? And then question 3, what year were women admitted as undergraduates at UGA? And question 4, who was the first African-American graduate student to desegregate the University of Georgia? Question 5, what is the mission of the UGA Graduate School? All right, so I'm going to give you a few more seconds to pour in your answers. We've got 46 out of 220 something who have voted thus far, giving you a few more seconds to wrap up. For our panelists who are entering, this is the largest accepted student day we've ever hosted. So you may have a lot of questions outside of our scripted questions that we have planned today. After my next step PowerPoint presentation, we'll have the grad panel, and then I'll announce the random drawings for 5 winners, and then we'll conclude. So just to give you a walkthrough of what's left today. All right, I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. End poll. All right, so we've got the poll over here. I'm going to put it to the side. So the first question, most of you said 1785. That is incorrect. That was when UGA began. That's when it was founded, but we started classes in 1801. So 20 of you said that. So it is 1801. What was UGA's first mascot? All right, most people said the bulldog. That is also incorrect. I'm tripping you up today. It is actually, we had a goat. And then we went against a football team, and then we decided, oh, that team had a bulldog. We're gonna upgrade a little bit. So our first mascot was a goat. So most of you said bulldog, and 39 of you said goat. Well done, well done. What year were women admitted as undergraduates at UGA? Several of you said 1928. You were ish close, kind of, sort of, maybe not. The answer is 1918, and Mary Linden is the first woman to be admitted, and there's a dorm named after her. Who was the first African-American graduate student to desegregate the University of Georgia? Okay, a lot of folks said Mary Frances Early. That is correct. Well done. May ASD, you are leading very well as a unit. Mary Frances Early was the first. Hamilton and Charlene were the first undergraduates, and Horace Work was the first Black student to apply at UGA in general, trying to get into law school. Last but not least, it's a trick question. What is the mission? The mission is all of the above. So we are trying to do all of these things that we've listed. So if you selected any of these options, well done. You get to pat yourself on the back today. Okay, great. So those were the results. Once again, I'm glad that we got to do a little bit of trivia before we dive into next steps. Once again, congratulations. Go Dogs. Welcome to Georgia. For those who are definitely coming, we're super excited for you. For those who might still be on the fence, we hope that this will be helpful. I want to go through a bit of our office. We have Mr. Giovanni Ayala. He's the Associate Director for Retention and Diversity. We have Dr. Lisa Sperling, our Senior Director, myself at the bottom, and then Frances. Frances is one of our graduate assistants. She's a second-year master's student in public administration. Frances has been doing a great job answering 1,000 questions a mile a minute. So Frances, you are the real MVP. Got to shout you out. This is the picture of Brooks Hall, which is where the graduate school is hosted. We are where you heard from Dr. Walcott. He's in the 3rd floor if you entered, but if you wanted to find us, we're on the 1st floor. I recommend coming the back way, or you will get lost for about 5 years. So come behind where the Founders Garden is if you want to visit 109, 110, or 111. Keep that in mind. Once again, everyone, I'm going to be walking through some information efficiently because I'm trying to be very respectful of your time. We have over 8,700 graduate students, several different programs. As you can see, we offer a lot. You are I'm very grateful to be talking to all of you because you're going to enrich our university. You are the lifeblood of it. So when you leave a mark and you leave a legacy. And we are super excited to welcome you to the Bulldog Nation. So this will be some of the to-do list items that we're going to talk about today. Some of these information slides were brought up from our campus partners, which is going to inspire me to be a little bit more quicker on those slides. But once again, you'll see some information. There will be links. The PowerPoint will be shared. No worries. Okay, so verification of lawful presence. This must be done in order to register for courses. Especially for our international students, you must verify that you're lawfully present in the United States. To be able to register, you have to check in with international students through this link. Once again, you'll receive this PowerPoint. And if you need access to any scanned copies of the passport or your US visa, I-94, you can go to this link for assistance in terms of immigration status. There will be an international student orientation between August 8th through the 12th to discuss these different topics that you see. And for more information about that, you can see the link below. UGA will be doing a hybrid. We will be emailing some information for our UGA overall orientation, and there will be an in-person component. We are still buffering some details, so please hold tight. You will be getting some information from us. We're very excited to have that in-person component, but we also want to be efficient by sending you stuff that you can review online and via email. So please hold tight as we are clearing up some of that information. For our international students, if you have to put this information on your I-20 for immigration services, you'll put that total there, which covers your living expenses and other expenses. This is very important for those who are coming from abroad, and we've got a lot of folks who are abroad today. Contact your department. As I emailed you before the event, you are more than welcome, if you're able, to come on campus, talk to your department for a visit. Let them know, thanks for admitting me to UGA. Ask if there are department-specific orientation outside of UGA. There may be something happening in your program. If there are any mentors or faculty advisors that you haven't been told about, you want to ask that up front. Any listservs you need to join for everyone in your graduate education department, go ahead and ask if you can join it. We're going to talk about registration, which actually you will talk to with your graduate coordinator. They'll help you understand it. There's a lot of variation. Some people, you may have to wait till you've gone through orientation. Others, they may give you clearance before, so you have to talk to your graduate coordinator about that. We will discuss the UGA ID, which I've seen some questions about. We already had Mandy talk about assistantships. Several of you, for the most part, will get offers or information through your departments for graduate teaching assistantships or lab assistantships or research assistantships. You still have to pay your fees, which is about $1,700 approximately. It varies. But there were other opportunities that you could apply to. Like, for example, we have Frances, who's in public administration, but she works for our office. So I hope that most of you have funding, but if you didn't, Mandy was able to talk about some loan options. There are also always opportunities to look into spring if you did not secure something, or next fall. So please stay hopeful and vigilant to make sure you're advocating for yourself and make sure you know that the tuition would waive, the assistantship would waive tuition to $25. You still pay your fees, and the amount, of course, varies depending on what the program offers you. That is the link for the Office of Student Financial Aid. You'll receive this link, so no worries if you're trying to keep track. Final admissions, make sure you've got your final transcript. Make sure you have a proof of your degree. Those are required through our portal system. So you want to make sure you're doing your due diligence and you do actually come here, because I want you to come here and I don't want you to forget these pieces and parts. My ID, a lot of you've probably already gotten access to your UGA email. Our Wi-Fi is pause secure. So for the most part, you'll be able to connect on campus to our UGA Wi-Fi. So that you can access different things without having to pay for something. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of you have already been in the process or already have your UGA email. Once you set that up, there will be a lot of information directed towards that email. So please make sure you're vigilant in checking it. There were questions about, how do I get my UGA ID card? So you're going to go to 309 Tate Student Center. It's about $30. They will take cash, check, or card. If it's your first time, make sure you bring your state issued driver's license or ID or passport or military ID. So just keep that in mind. And if you want to buy a meal plan, you can do that on your own, but they will, if you give permission, they'll do an iris scan, which allows you to show your eye and get in. If you don't want to do that, there are also fingerprints biometrics, but there also is the option of just scanning your card. Depends on how much information you want to reveal or share, but it will allow you a little bit more efficiency to get through the dining services. Christine was great in talking about University Health Center. Definitely go to the website, and there is a link that says graduate students, and it tells you everything you need to have. So please, when you get this PowerPoint, make sure you cover that information to make sure everything is in line before you come on campus. She also talked about health insurance. So for the most part, there are grad students who are required to have health insurance. And then for those who are not, you can get coverage if you want. The link about student health insurance will be there for you to explore it and look a little bit more into those details. Housing was covered by Carrie Campbell, which did a great job. If you are interested in off-campus housing, one of those links I emailed you before this meeting was Life in Athens. There's a different number of websites like Rent Athens or Zillow that allows you to look at places off campus just in case you don't want to take the option of living on campus. Rent ranges from maybe $250 to $300 if you're living in a 4-bedroom apartment, all the way to $1,400, $1,500 if you are feeling like Beyonce or Jay-Z. If you want to spend money like that, it's up to you, but there's a wide variety of options where you can live in Athens. Here is the university housing contact, but once again, if you want those search engines, you can go to the Life in Athens document that I emailed you before today's meeting to look at some off-campus options and use those filters to figure out if you want a washing machine, if you want a gym or a nice pool, or maybe you want your own bathroom. Make sure you utilize those links as well. For our Disability Resource Center, if you are registered with the DRC, which is what it's called, that will allow you to have some test accommodations and some assistance, as well as if you have a difficult time getting to and from campus, please utilize these services. DRC is phenomenal. We want to make sure that you have an equitable education like anyone else. So if you need these services, you would go to drc.uga.edu. We had Elizabeth talk about the library. We've got so many books, more books than students, which is a positive. And you also have access to a ton of journals that you get because you are at UGA. She mentioned several different resources and opportunities. We have a ton of different library buildings also on campus. So please make sure you are aware of that. And the librarians are really helpful, especially with graduate education. They're very welcoming. You can also talk to them online if you feel a bit nervous or hesitant. So keep that in mind. Parking. I know there were questions about parking. So I just want to let you know that tps.uga.edu is where you go for UGA parking. If you want to park on campus, there are locations that are $20 a month up to $40 a month. For the most part, you want to talk to your graduate coordinator to figure out where your building or where your office is located. Most students prefer to park closest to their building. However, if you want to save some dollars, you may want to park at those $20 or $30 lots instead. So please visit that website. There are alternative transportation programs. If you want to park far off campus and there's a bus that can pick you up and take you on campus, that will not charge you. We are bike friendly. So if you like riding bikes, I do not have the calves or the stamina for that. But if you do, that's a great way to also get by, which is also positive. If you live very close to campus, certain people walk. So there are other ways to get around. So you see on the left, there's UGA Transit. We have about 11 buses. Definitely download our UGA Transit app if you want to know which buses are coming when. We have some weekend services, some night services. Services do change up a bit during finals, but we still have some limited number of buses to still help. The disability van services are available for those who are registered through DRC. But then on the right, we also have Athens Transit. So if you're that student who lives off campus, there are about 20 plus routes that you can get. Because you have that UGA ID, all you do is get on that bus and swipe, and you're able to ride the bus. For UGA buses, for our on-campus buses, you don't have to swipe at all. You just get on and that's it. So those are those websites for both UGA's bus and also for the Athens Transit. Our friend Dr. Crane spoke to you about his experiential learning development, and also our friend Kenyetta talked about the Career Center. So this is the Career Center information. And also here is Dr. Crane's information. Once again, I want to be efficient with your time because I really want you to have time to talk and ask questions to the grad panelist. One of our panelists, who was a former graduate assistant, Dion Mitchum, you'll hear from today, she built the virtual tour. I'm not sure if any of you've had the pleasure of seeing it, but she built it this past year so that students during the pandemic and students who are international or out of state could get a gist of what is campus, where are the places, where is my building, what are the traditions. So very glad that Dion was able to create this as a legacy before she left. This is a snippet of some of the things you can see from North Campus to South Campus to taking a tour. So really glad that Dion was able to create this so that our students can really utilize it and you could see Georgia from afar. This is a long list of resources that will help and guide you. Dr. Walcott earlier, for those who were not here, did talk about several of these. The 3-minute thesis competition is also pretty cool. When you're further along, there are some cash prizes for that. We have several workshops. If you're a minority student, learning how to navigate in a predominantly white institution, or if you're first gen, or if you're just dealing with transition in general and needing some success support workshops, we have a lot of that. We also celebrate our students. There are 2 big organizations we support, Graduate Student Association and also Graduate and Professional Scholars. We have a couple of people on the panel who are from those orgs as well. Here's a list of all these resources that you can gain more information about. And if you are not necessarily on the Athens campus, maybe you're an online student, maybe you're from Buckhead, Griffin, Gwinnett, or Tifton, my hometown in 229, then these are just helpful just in case you're not going to be on main campus, but you want to know how to be directed to resources that relate to you. So I hope that this presentation will be able to get a good gist about what are those next steps, where's the information I can access so that you can receive some more assistance going forward. So we're at 5:33. I'm going to shift over to my good friend, Francis Oliver. And Francis, you have the floor.
Hi, everyone. So I'm really excited for this portion of our presentation. We have 4 excellent current and just recently graduated graduate students who have engaged with different aspects of graduate student life. They are all in excellent positions throughout the university to reflect on and comment on the graduate student experience. So I'll quickly introduce them, and then we're going to jump into 4 questions that we've already drafted, but then we'd like to set aside a few minutes for some additional questions, which you can feel free to submit in the chat. So first, we have Dion Mitchum, which Narki mentioned. She created our incredible virtual tour for the graduate school. She was my colleague here at the Office of Recruitment and Diversity Initiatives, and she just graduated in Public Health and Disaster Management from Texas, and now she is working for the CDC in Atlanta. So she's gone on to wonderful things. We've also got Gia Santiago, who is in the Multicultural Services and Programs office, doing excellent work there. She's a 2nd-year master's in social work from New York. We've got Christian Hoggins, who is our incoming president for the Graduate and Professional Student Organization, GAPS. I hope I said that right. Sometimes I mix up my words, but she is a 3rd-year PhD student in polymer fiber and textile science from Florida. I'm from Florida too, so cool. And then I know we had a lot of students here from India. So Pralina Deka, who is our incoming president for the Graduate Student Association, will be joining us. She's 3rd-year PhD in comparative literature and intercultural studies. And so without further ado, I'd like to ask our panelists some questions. So first we'll have Dion and Sabrina speak about how graduate school compares to undergrad. Now, for the sake of keeping this all brief, we ask that each of our panelists restrict their questions to just about a minute. So try to take about 60 seconds to answer the question. And either Dion or Sabrina, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Dion, like they said. So to answer the first question, I think there's like 3 things that really point out the difference between grad school and undergrad. The first is testing of your knowledge is different. So in undergrad, they kind of tested that you had the knowledge that they taught in class, but in grad school, it's applying that knowledge. So my first semester is more of through testing, and my second semester is application. I even think I did it, my 2nd year application. So a lot of paper writing, a lot of projects that would mirror my work in the future, like in the real world. And secondly, your peers in undergrad, sometimes they don't want to be there in class. But in grad school, everyone knows you're paying to be there, or you're working to be there, or you're doing something you're passionate about. So it's like a total 180, you know, people really care about attending class, being on time, hopefully. Everyone tries to do their best, and it's more of a conversation sometimes in some classes. It's a conversation instead of a lecture. And lastly, I think this is a real big difference for me, is you're in the driving seat of your degree and not so much your advisor. It depends on your major professor, but I really got say of like where I wanted to go with my degree and what I wanted to focus on and where I wanted to intern and all that stuff. It started with me, and then my major professor was there to guide me and show me all the other resources that could help me get where I wanted to be. So that's it.
Thank you, Dion. So, Berlina, if you could answer the question.
Yeah, thank you. Dion has already covered a lot of very important points, so thank you for that. That was really great. I think I just add something, a very, very, very fun fact, actually, you know. So I did my undergraduate in India, but, you know, at least we agree on one fact that, you know, undergraduate in India or in US, you do have to go through a lot of exams, you know. But in graduate school, there is more research and, you know, less exams. So that is really something to look forward to. Exams are not something I miss at all. And, you know, one, you know, sort of negative thing, I think, if you're really into partying and everything while you were an undergrad, well, your body would no longer be 21 and there will be changes. Something to think about. So, yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much. These are wise reflections. I agree. In fact, we have a colleague in the department who said that he spent his first year as a graduate student living near undergraduate housing and regretted it because there was so much partying and he needed the space to concentrate. So that's something to consider with housing. So for a second question, we're going to have Christian and Gia speak on what life is like as a graduate student in Athens. So Christian and Gia, go ahead when you're ready.
Hi, everyone. I'm Christian. I first want to congratulate everyone on being accepted into the University of Georgia for graduate school. Such an awesome accomplishment. I would say for me, life in Athens as a graduate student has been overall a great experience for me thus far. You definitely do need to know how to manage between your studies and having some personal time for yourself. I value wellness. So Athens is a really great place for like outdoor activities. I've taken up hiking. I would have never thought that I would have taken up hiking as a hobby, but hiking and walking trails, which are all available around Athens, have been great for me. And also I'll be serving as the president for the Graduate and Professional Scholars Organization this upcoming year. So just finding a community, people to be, that have been really supportive of my studies and just like meeting new friends was like my main objective coming to UGA. And all of my friends have really helped get me through my studies. And also Athens is only an hour and a half away from Atlanta. So when I have time on the weekend, I get to travel to Atlanta and see all of the things that Atlanta has to offer there. So I would say it's been joyful. GAPS has been such a great family to me. So definitely, if you can find a great support system when if you do come, and also spend time getting to know your cohort. I've grown to be really close to my cohort as well. So we have we take time to really spend time with each other outside of our studies as well.
Thank you, Christian. And if you can share any information about how to get in touch with GAPS or sign up, feel free to drop that in the chat. Okay, Gia, if you can also comment on life as a graduate student in Athens.
Absolutely. So yes, my name is Gia, and I just finished my first year in the master's program for social work. And since this was my first year in Athens and I came in during a COVID year, I haven't really gotten to experience the true Athens, or at least that's what everyone's been telling me. But my experience has been very positive here, especially with my cohort in specific. In graduate school, it's a bit different than undergrad. You find that you are connecting more with the people in your cohort and your major, whatever that may be. Instead, in undergrad, it was more like you had friends from different degree programs and whatnot. And in graduate school, it's mainly you're just hanging around with the same people all the time, so you get really close. And it's a really great experience. And I find that the people here especially are very good with connecting and utilizing resources and networking and whatnot. So it's been very beneficial to get out and meet people and explore. And like Christian said, since it was a COVID year, I wasn't able to like go places and whatnot with my friends. Instead, we went to all of the public parks in Athens, and it has been so awesome. There's so many places outdoors in Athens that you can go hang out, give yourself space, go relax in nature a little bit. I too took up hiking, which I never ever thought that I would do. But even if it's just a walk in the park, it's so worth it. And Athens has a lot. And even in the surrounding areas, there's always something to do.
Thank you, Gia. And I see some questions are being answered in the chat by some of our panelists, so feel free to continue asking great questions. I second what everyone has said. I love hiking in Athens. You can go on easy hikes, short hikes, or long hikes, depending on how excited you are. And there's a lot of great food and restaurants. So slowly we'll be seeing the city opening up in the next few months as we're getting our vaccination rates up. So the following question is for Gia again and Dion, but you can answer in whichever order. Are you able to have a social life in grad school? I think you've already kind of hinted at that, but if you can talk a little bit more, the work-life balance.
Gia, do you want to go or?
Yeah, I'll go really quick. I was just typing, but I'll finish my thought in a minute. So it's hard at first. It is really hard to get the hang of balancing your personal life, your social life, and your academic life. It takes a good minute to adjust, if I'm being completely honest with you. At first, I was very overwhelmed with everything and the transition from undergrad to graduate school, since, you know, even though we're not given tests, we're given a lot more responsibilities. And that entails a lot of different things than it did in undergrad. And so there is a bit of an adjustment period, but once you get the hang of it and you learn yourself and you understand how you work as a student, you'll find that it's actually very easy to manage a social life along with your academic life and succeed in both of them. So yeah.
I agree with Gia. It's all about balance. I think the first semester you'll have a little bit of a transition period, but to answer the question, I would say yes. You can have a social life, just manage it well. I, in undergrad, did not have a social life. I was my nose was in the books all the time, and I think I explored Athens more and I had a lot of fun in graduate school, but I did have the balance. Like, I still kept my grades up and did everything. I had a really good connection with my cohort. We all lived closely together because we lived on the health science campus. So that really helped me find my community quickly. And I joined clubs. So there is GSA and GAPS, but you can also join clubs that aren't just for graduate students. So I joined a ballroom dancing club that had graduate students and undergrad. So I got a mix of both friends from graduate school and friends that were in undergrad. So it really diversified my friend group.
Thanks, Dion. And I'll add to that that there's also great professional groups. So if you're in a professional program or considering it, you know, there's opportunities to socialize either through shared hobbies, through your identity, through professional paths like nonprofits. And so definitely look into all the possibilities for student organizations and clubs. And last but not least, for both Sabrina and Christian, why is graduate school important for you?
I guess I can go first. So for me personally, graduate school is very important because, well, you know, in my immediate family, I am the first one to actually go to graduate school. And thankfully, I did not have to compromise on my um, choice of program. I wanted to be in comp lit, and here I am. I wanted to work with a specific professor, and here I am at UGA. So that way, things have been going very well, and you know, I'm very lucky that way to be here. And secondly, it's important for me on the larger level because you know you get to make a difference in the long run, especially if you're involved with different organizations in the university. You get to make a difference not only in your world but your colleagues' worlds as well, in their lives. And also, you know, when you teach undergrads, you have that connection with the next generation. You get to make a lot of difference that way too. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Those are all great points. Christian?
Yes, I would like to just echo some of the points that Sabrina mentioned. Graduate school is important for me because this is, I'm the first person in my family to go and pursue a doctorate. So I feel a lot of purpose behind the work that I do. And I know I'm always reminded that I'm not completing this degree just for myself, but also for others, for my family. So that's what keeps me really motivated because we in higher education, especially in these graduate programs, we have access to so many resources. And just being able to take those resources and share all of that knowledge and some of the things that I'm able to come across with family and friends, I just feel like I'm being fulfilled in my role by just being here in this position. And also I'm able to be in spaces and be able to have conversations with other scholars that I may not have otherwise been able to if I had not pursued graduate school. So I really do appreciate my time here. And also, you know, I just take it very serious. It's echoing what Sabrina said, as far as like me wanting to go in academia as a professor, knowing that my education is dependent on like how I'm going to teach the generations after us. So I choose to, and I try to be very purposeful and intentional about this experience, and I love it. Just to keep my answer short, I could go all day, but I'll keep it really short.
Thank you. You're all such wonderful ambassadors for just graduate school in general and at UGA. So we have some time for Q&A. I know that there's been some back and forth between some of our panelists, so thank you so much for participating in the chat as well to help, because we have about 11 minutes left of our program and we want to be mindful of everyone's time. So Narki, I don't know if you would suggest I jump in the chat or if we can take any raised hands. What do you think?
Yeah, people can either write in the chat or they can raise their hand so that Francis can figure out who can unmute if you're bold and you want your voice to be heard. If you don't prefer to unmute after you raise your hand, that's okay. I see Franz has raised their hand. So Franz, you can unmute. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, please correct me.
You actually did, and I get different versions of it, so I appreciate that. I also want to thank all the panelists for definitely coming out and giving your experience as well. I did have one question. I just graduated with my master's, and I wanted to know how was the transition from master's to PhD, and any advice that you have for incoming PhD students in prepping.
I can jump in. I would say that it is a huge transition. I feel that between my master's and the doctoral program, the expectation level is higher. There are a lot more expectations of doctoral students than there were of master students in my program. Just because like they expect us to, and so they encourage us to publish because that becomes a lot more important, especially here at a Research One institution. And you have to have a more narrow, like focused research agenda. It becomes a lot more like intentional in your studies when you do get to the doctoral program. So I would say, as you prepare to go into this new stage of your life, I would definitely start with a purpose statement. Like, where was I? What have I been through? What have I experienced? And what is it in this? For me, it was like, what is it in society that I want to see a change? What is it within my discipline that I want to see done differently? And that has really helped me to shape my research agenda and all the work that I do. I don't ever feel like my studies are work, to be honest. I'm, completing my studies in my department, but I'm also doing a diversity, equity, inclusion certificate, which exists within the College of Education for those who may be interested in those themes and those topics. And I don't ever feel like it's work. So just thinking about, why do I want to pursue the degree? And what could I be doing? How can I bring about a change to not only the institution, but also society? It really helped me.
We've got a raised hand from, I believe, Nikki Carr. Then after Nikki, there's a question from Patrick in the chat that someone can answer. And then after that is Jennifer Lewis.
Hi, how are you? Yes, you pronounced my name correctly, not Nisi, thanks. So I currently work at Georgia State, and I'm wondering about the USG time served. Sounds like prison, but it's not. The USG time and how it works with the assistantship. If you're familiar with that, can I get the time that I'm working as an assistantship, in the assistantship, to go towards my time for retirement for USG? Please, thank you.
Out of curiosity, are you referencing TAP or something else?
No, well, it's not TAP. I mean, I won't be able to do TAP. I'm doing TAP now, but I won't be able to do TAP as in the assistantship because it's a full-time commitment. So if I've done 5 years of USG in the USG system, will I still accrue that time once I become quote unquote a student, but I'm working as an assistantship? So does that time, you found, is that an HR thing?
That is an HR question because it's gonna probably, that's a phenomenal question. I don't have that expertise because I know it's gonna be boiled down to full benefits, or it could be boiled down to whether it's a pause and play type of vibe. So that would probably be an HR question.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Narki.
Thank you. And I'm glad that I said your name right. As someone named Narki, I understand you and Franz. So, you know. Thank you. Patrick had the question about the difference between GSA and GAPS. And then once again, Jennifer's next for a question. And then I see Brahm, which I don't know if I pronounced, but you'll let me know. And then I think we'll end with Brahm for a unmute, but then you can still keep asking questions because the panelists can still keep answering through the chat. All right, Patrick's question, difference between GSA versus GAPS.
I was going to type, but I guess speaking might be a little easier. So I know for speaking specifically for GAPS, we're here to make sure that we're making available any of our resources for any historically underrepresented graduate and professional scholars here at the University of Georgia. So we do have, we have a lot of programming throughout the year. One of our major events that we have is the Mary Frances Early Lecture that we have in the spring. And we just want to make sure that we're building a community for all of the students who do come here to the University of Georgia. We send out newsletters every month to make sure that everyone's updated on any like financial resources or opportunities that may come across, any assistantships, scholarships, fellowships. Again, we have our programming if you guys just want to take a break from studies and just want to get together and meet new people. That's mainly what GAPS does. As far as, Sabrina, do you want to say what the difference may be between GSA?
Yeah, sure. I can try. So GSA, the Graduate Student Association, we usually have members from all over the university, and we try to have at least one student representative from each department, which is difficult to get, but then we are trying to reach out as much as we can. We do that, and then we also have special committees on the association. Like, for example, we have the student advocacy committee, and then we have the student health and wellness committee. So we have these specific committees because students face a lot of problems in their day-to-day lives in graduate school. Somebody might have some issues with the fees that they are paying at with respect to the stipend that they're actually getting. So, GSA becomes a platform to voice all your needs and your problems so that, we can make that official and put it into writing and actually maybe take it forward to the concerned offices and departments if we can. So I think that's it. And of course, the Student Health and Wellness Committee, we do have drives about mental awareness and things at least once or twice a year. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so
for
much.
now.
And then Jennifer Lewis and Jennifer's cat. And then after Jennifer, we'll wrap up with Rambat, I believe. So Jennifer, go ahead.
That was a dog. It was a basset hound puppy.
Ooh, not the right species. I got names right, but not species.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, maybe she kind of looks like a cat. So my question is, what kind of advice would you give? I'm starting my master's program at UGA next month for the summer. And what kind of advice would you give for somebody who's thinking about just starting their master's program, but already looking ahead to kind of prepping for doctorate? Like what kind of paths should we be looking at if we're thinking about after our master's at UGA applying for like our EDS?
I hope the panelists don't mind if I jump in. I love your question because I had that same question. I'm a TAP recipient. I'm a part-time student. So I learned to really understand the fundamentals and the mechanics of the master's. I wanted to actually upgrade from my master's to my PhD because there were a lot of PhD students in my classes, but I was told by one of my mentors, you need to first understand method, you need to understand epistemology. You need to really understand how graduate writing takes place. So there was a lot of things that, of course, undergrad doesn't teach you because the master's is mastery of knowledge, but the doctoral degree is creation and furtherance of new knowledge or expanding in gaps. So I think really understand the minute processes that exist that you're learning for the first time as a graduate student in master's, and that will propel you so that you are now furthering knowledge as a doctoral student. So really take advantage of that intro to research course, learn what you feel about qual or quant to know how that's gonna foster your experiences, but it's really mastering those basics so that you already have the tools when you're furthering knowledge as a doctoral student.
Okay, would it benefit to go ahead and tell my advisor that I'm looking at the EDS program following my master's at UGA for following my pathway that they choose?
I think that's a good idea because they may give you extra insight on which classes will be benefiting that doctoral level with the EDS. Okay. So I say yes, you should definitely do that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Jennifer's dog, beautiful beagle, not a cat. Last but not least, you're welcome, is I believe Brambot, but you go ahead and correct me if I pronounce that incorrectly. You have the last question.
No, you actually got my last name right. That is actually how you pronounce it. My first name is Moncito. And thank you so much for this because it really answered a lot of my questions. But I did have a question. I asked in the chat, how do we get in contact with our graduate coordinator, graduate advisor regarding to which classes or which building would have majority of our classes or regarding to registration process and everything?
I would say that probably differs between department. The best thing that has worked out for me, I'm not sure if you've tried yet, is to directly contact the graduate coordinator. I've also had to contact, or I've had some interested students like contact me, and I would speak on behalf of them to our graduate coordinator, letting them know like we do have a newer student who's interested and wants to know this information. What is the best way for them to receive this information? So I think that might be the best way. I know that the graduate coordinators, especially with us transitioning into us being in the middle of a pandemic, and then us transitioning back into, I guess, possibly face-to-face, like everyone's like really busy. So I can understand you not being able to get that direct contact. If you can get in contact with a student that is in the department, and ask them like, what is the best way to get the information that you need, that might be a little more, you might be able to get some more help in that way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Francis, you want to wrap up our amazing panelists?
No, just to say thank you all for being here. It's such a pleasure to be amongst such great students and to be excited for all of you incoming in the fall. I see a lot of questions about meeting up, and while you certainly can go ahead and curate excellent meetups in advance, just know that you'll get information at the beginning of the fall of lots of stuff with GSA and GAPS and other student organizations, great opportunities to get together virtually or in person and meet. So looking forward to that. And Narki, I believe we have sweepstakes of some sort.
Yes. All right. So wrapping up, it's 6:02 Eastern Standard. Thank you all so much for your patience. I'm telling you, this was amazing that we managed to still be not too far off. A couple of things. I just posted the evaluation for Accepted Students Day. It will be emailed right after this call. But if you can go ahead and open that up and keep it in your browser and do that this evening or today, that would be great. Secondly, I am going to be asking those from March and those in May, if you are on campus or want to come to campus to do a sort of meetup from Acceptance Students Day before classes begin, I'm going to ask that in the future when I'm sending out the recording. So tonight will just be the evaluation, the links, but in the future after that, I'm going to say, hey, here's the recording. Also, if you'd like to get up to meet and to, say, hey, have a cool, tour of the campus, grab some food, just to kind of socialize and get to know each other and see where everyone is, that's going to be offered. Last but not least, the random drawing for 5 people, the names that popped up is, I believe it's Jacoby Shipman, Ping Guan, Jordan Rice, Hannah Bailey, and Sandipani Basu. If I pronounce anything incorrectly, please accept my apologies. But you are the 5 who were randomly drawn. You'll get an email about shirt sizes. When you come on campus, you'll stop by my office and I'll give you the little gift to welcome you on campus. So this wraps up our Accepted Students Day. As a first generation, first year part-time doctoral student, I just finished my first year. I went through the master's part-time. I'm doing this PhD part-time. I know the struggle. These panelists know the struggle, but we also know the successes. We know the accomplishments and the victories involved. You can do this. You got this. We're excited for you. We are still here. This does not have to be our last conversation. We'll send you the resources we have, but outside of that, other things you need socially or to be directed to different places, we're gonna be a resource. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Francis. This will be recorded. It'll be sent out late May or early June. Since we did 2, we're gonna pick the best of the 2. You all take care. And once again, go Dogs.